Hello, and welcome back to the Natural Wellness Tips Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Jennifer Shaw. As always, I am super excited to be here with you today. Today, we are diving into decluttering life. And when I first think of decluttering, I think of, cleaning out my cabinets, my closet, my home, getting rid of things that I no longer need or want, making space, right? Which the irony of me recording this video right now is so funny. It's just I'm in the midst of like packing to make room to then pack to move. It's like a couple step process that's going on right now. And I have just been decluttering everywhere, decluttering my desk, my closet, my work stuff, my kitchen, just all the things, going through and saying, do I really need this? Does this serve a purpose anymore? Has it already served its purpose in my life? Right. So it's just been a fun process to kind of go through that. And yeah, so I'm excited to dive into this because when we talk about decluttering and how we're going to talk about it today, it's so much more than just letting go of things. It really honestly needs to be done in like all areas of our lives. And that's like thinking about like our relationships, our habits, our belongings, our excuses, our repetitive thoughts. We have like 90% of our thoughts a day are repetitive. And a huge portion of those thoughts are negative. We need to cleanse those negative thoughts out. We need to find ways to replace them, right? We need to look at relationships and say, is this relationship still serving me? Or do I need to do some work in this relationship? I mean, honestly, I think we should always be showing up and doing work in all of our relationships. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing that we think of decluttering in one specific area, but when we have clutter in any areas of our lives, even like the habit of what we take in, what do we watch, what do we listen to, what do we read, all of those affect our overall emotional health, right? So we need to declutter what's going on in those areas. So there's so much more to decluttering that can be done so that we can find a place of peace, of quiet, of calm, of stillness in our lives. So we can sit with ourselves and be at peace, right? And I honestly had not thought this way in this much clarity until a conversation that came to be in Clubhouse. And it was in a room I was moderating, and we went deep. We started talking about even how the stories we have been told by our parents, our siblings, our friends, our partners, they can clutter up our mind. They can create a story in our minds of who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to show up and what we are supposed to do in life. And they can really truly block our ability to see our true purpose, to see who we truly are, what we want while we're on this earth, right? Like everybody else's opinion and direction, I spent so much time trying to fulfill that. God, I got to like 33 and realized that I didn't even know what the hell I wanted. Right? I spent so much time in my life checking boxes that other people told me I should be checking. I followed along with society. I wore the masks that they told me I was supposed to wear. I was the honor student, varsity cheerleading captain, prom queen. I went to college, graduated from college, went to grad school, graduated from grad school. I got in the relationship, moved in, got married. I did all the things. And at the end of that road that everybody else had told me I should follow, honestly, I was I was 33. I was miserable. I was in an abusive marriage, and I had no idea who the fuck I was. I had no idea. Uh, I knew who other people wanted me to be. I knew how I was supposed to act and what I was supposed to do and where and what I was supposed to say and who I was supposed to hang out with to make other people comfortable. But that was really all to please other people. And just, 2 weeks ago on the podcast, I did a whole episode about people pleasing. And I think I've just been kind of diving into this idea in my mind and creating some clarity around it. It's been so interesting and fascinating to me to recognize some patternings in myself, right? I mean, I look back to when I was married, I used to love high top sneakers. I had rad high top sneakers. And I was told that I shouldn't wear them. And when somebody picks on what you wear so often that you kind of just start to listen, right? And you get, you're like, okay, well, this is one thing I can like not get in trouble for today. So I got rid of them. I stopped wearing them. It was so funny this last year. Uh, my amazing boyfriend was like, uh, I don't care if you wear high top sneakers. And I got a pair of high top sneakers for Christmas. And I wear them literally like more days than I don't. I'm obsessed with my high top sneakers. I love them. And it's more than just like, I like the way they look. I like how comfortable they are. It's more like I get to wear what I want to wear, right? I get to be who I am and I get to figure out who the hell that is. And oftentimes, as we evolve and create more clarity and honestly peel back the layers of trauma and life and stories and masks that we've wore, as we peel those things back in life, we can become so unfamiliar with who we are underneath, right? Because we've had so many years of conditioning by society of telling us who we're supposed to be that we don't even know who we are anymore. And that's what we need to declutter, right? It's like we need to declutter all of that. And then we need to figure out how to be comfortable with who we are underneath it all. As I move through these last 3 years since leaving my ex-husband, I've been on a journey to peel back those layers and figure out who I am underneath it all. And when I look back at these last 3 years, I can honestly say I barely recognize who I was back then. I just saw a memory pop up from 2 years ago. And I was brought back to that point in my life where I was like thinking I was creating clarity in my life, and I was healing wounds and uncovering things, but God, I barely even recognized the girl in that picture. And it was 2 years ago, right? I had filled my life with so much clutter and noise, I couldn't even hear myself think. And what was really fascinating about the picture from 2 years ago, it was, just a few weeks before I got sober. And I think that's a huge part of why I don't recognize myself from back then. You know, it's just, it's a different kind of life I was living. I was using alcohol as a huge mask for myself, right? Uh, so when we start to think about those masks that we wear, those stories we've been told, when you think of decluttering, I want you to start thinking about what doesn't serve you, what is to serve other people, what can you let go of, what stories about who you are supposed to be can you release. And I think that's really powerful to be able to do that, right? To be able to let all of that go. And we can also look at our relationships, right? We can look at, yeah, we could do this in so many different areas. So if we go back to uh let me tell you a story. I was on Instagram and I saw this woman who I look up to, uh and she was showing her closet, and it was like one of those things that my mind was like, whoa. It was so simple, so clean, and honestly pretty empty. She had just what she needed, nothing less, nothing more. She knows what she likes, and she wears that. And I found myself honestly being envious of how simple she kept her clothing, her belongings, even the color she wore. She knows what she likes and she sticks to it. And I was just like, wow, how much stuff do I have in my closet that I will never wear? How much do I have in my closet that I used to wear because they were part of an old relationship, a mask, a story I was telling myself? Because it was a gift from someone and I feel bad getting rid of it, right? It was so interesting. Right after I saw that, I went into my room and I eliminated half my closet. And I know that, I have it all packed up for our next clothing exchange we're going to do here in San Diego. And I know that those dresses and things will go to amazing women who will wear them and breathe life back into them and find value in them, right? But they weren't serving me anymore. They were in my closet. And every time I saw them, I'm like, nope, 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 nope. I mean, heck, one of them was a dress that was potentially going to be worn at my wedding, given to me by my ex mother-in-law. I'm like, why is this in my closet? Why do I have this still? Right? Like we hold on to things sometimes, and it's really fascinating to see why we do it. So letting those things go was just so freeing. Everything we own holds power over us in some way. And maybe it's a positive feeling or a thought, maybe it's a negative feeling or a thought. The bottom line is everything holds energy, and we get to choose what we keep and what we let go of. This also goes for relationships. Do you have relationships that when you talk to or hang out with that person, you feel heavy after? You're confused, you have blurry thoughts, do you have more self-critical talk when you leave that person or that interaction? Maybe it's time to put some boundaries in place, to walk away from that relationship, to limit the amount of time you leave open for that person, right? We don't have to cut everybody out completely, but just maybe you're less available for that person. Maybe you have boundaries around what you will do with them. You know, one of the things for me when I think of that is uh, there's some boundaries I put in place around people and drinking. If there's going to be a large amount of drinking, I choose to not partake in that event, or I choose to partake in the very beginning of that event before much of the alcohol is consumed, and then I move on with my day and let them keep drinking, right? Like we can find different ways to put boundaries in place while not eliminating people that mean a lot to us from our lives, right? So that's something to really think about, of like, how can you put boundaries in so you feel a little safer, a little more of an ability to be you. So basically decluttering the time in your day. So when we think about the time in our day too, it's important to think about what we consume, what books, podcasts, TV, news, social media you consume. I can tell you right now, in this day and age, the people that consume a lot of TV and news are in a lot worse state than people that don't. There is fear that is running rampant through all messaging on those platforms. And it is next to impossible to not absorb that fear when you watch those things. I do not watch the news. I do not own a TV. I do not watch TV. I watch movies or TV shows sometimes on an airplane, and I'll watch documentaries a couple times a year. But in all honesty, I probably watch less than 12 hours a year of television. And that is my preference. That's something that I stand strong in. That's something that I decluttered for my life. I don't have time for TV. Oftentimes people say they don't have time to do other things in life, build a business, get healthy, work out, but they have time for TV. And that's a choice. Everything in life is a choice. I talk about this all the time on the podcast. My choice is I do not have time for TV. Right. And I choose to read books. Yeah. I choose I mean, this year I think I've read 10 or 11 books, and I'm behind. This year is like a slow reading year for me. So really, when we think about it, it's like I choose to spend my time on that. I choose to spend my time listening to podcasts. I choose to spend my time um, sharing value on social media, absorbing value from people that I find inspiring, right? Not trying not to aimlessly scroll, right? So think about these things and what's serving you. What is clutter? What is white noise? So many people just turn the TV on right when they walk in the house just to have that noise in the background. Can you clean up and declutter this input? When we declutter the information coming into our minds, we can declutter our thoughts and our emotions. Everything you see, everything you hear is absorbed and repeated in your mind and your body. What about, those negative thoughts, like that a lot of times come after watching some of those newscasts, right? That play over and over again, repeat in your mind. I've read different numbers in different places. However, the average I've read, and this statistic kind of sticks out to me, is we have close to 5,000 negative thoughts a day. And that in itself is a very, very scary thought. But what is even scarier is that it takes 10 positive thoughts to reverse one negative thought. So that means you have to have 50,000 positive thoughts a day to combat the negative thoughts. So are your thoughts more negative or more positive? And this is why decluttering our thoughts, guys, is really powerful. One of my favorite ways to do this is to catch myself when I'm going down that negative thought loop. And I like to grab an essential oil and breathe right then and there. And like my favorite is wild orange for that. And I always have wild orange handy. I like to just take a drop in my hand and I just rub my hands together and I take a few deep breaths. Take less than 30 seconds, just breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathing deep, deep, deep into your belly, right? And when I do that, I reframe the negative thought. For instance, let's say the thought is like, I have too much to do. I'm never going to get this all done. I can reframe to, I'm accomplishing so much today and being efficient with my time. I put a positive spin on it. I remind myself that I am doing a great job. And it's just important to remember that what we say, what we think becomes our reality. So we have to take back control of these haywire thoughts. You can have affirmations written out in your phone that you can read. You can record yourself saying affirmations and a couple times a day have an alarm go off on your phone and listen to yourself saying those affirmations. You can listen to binaural beats. You can listen to recorded affirmations. You can listen to an uplifting video that you save, a podcast that you know always picks you up. What can you do to shift that mindset? Can you journal? Can you write out all the negative thoughts and say, I'm letting you go? Right? But getting those negative thoughts out of your head, not just pushing them down, not just shoving them down, like recognizing them, saying thank you to them, and moving on and finding a way to reframe them, right? So we've looked at decluttering our belongings, our relationships, our input, our thoughts. I've also talked about how everything has energy, right? So what can we do to support decluttering energy in our homes? I want you to think about this. If you have never cleansed the energy in your home, I want you to understand that everyone that's lived in your home before you, their energy is in your home. Every fight that's ever happened in your home, the energy is in your home. Every negative phone call you've gotten, every stress you've had about finances, it's even thought in feng shui that if somebody had financial struggles in your home before you, and then you move into your home and you don't cleanse that space, that you can absorb their financial struggles, the energy vibration of their financial struggles. So it's the vibration of the home. It's not the actual, like, you're getting their bad luck. It's like the vibration of their home brings you down because the home is bigger than you and your vibration is only so big. So if you don't clear out that negative low vibration that's caught in the walls of that home, you're going to start absorbing it. Right. And you can take this or leave this, believe this or not. But I know for a fact that it works and it shifts. I know for a fact that when I cleanse energy after an argument or a discussion or something that doesn't go right, I feel better. I feel lighter. Things are freer, right? So, how do we do this? There's a lot of different ways. Two of my favorite ways, one is I like to burn sage. Start at the front door and you burn sage around the house clockwise. And as you're burning sage, you're releasing negative energy and vibrations from the home. And then you open the front door and let that negativity flow out. And then you do the same thing with Palo Santo. So then the Palo Santo is bringing in the positive energy. You start at the front door and move clockwise. The next is I like to diffuse lemongrass. So I diffuse lemongrass and I do that for 8 hours. So I take my doTERRA lemongrass and I pop that in the diffuser in it's going to be in every room that you need to clear the energy. So if you had a disagreement in the living room, you're going to diffuse the lemongrass for 8 hours there. If you're just cleansing the whole home, you're going to want to do it room by room with diffusers, right? So you do lemongrass for 8 hours. That really cleans out the energy. And then you come in with frankincense after for 4 hours in the diffuser to uplift the energy. So like I said, both of these start by clearing out the negative energy and then welcoming in positive energy. So as we declutter our lives, energy can be left in our homes when it's all said and done, right? Clearing out that energy is incredibly important. And you can do that through sage and Palo Santo, or you can do that through your essential oils. So really powerful way to think about using these and beginning to try these in your home, right? Guys, if you haven't tried essential oils yet, I really want you to check out the 5-day oil experience. It's down below. You can click the link. Check it out for $10, guys. $10. So 2 Starbucks coffees. I will send you 6 samples from doTERRA. I'm going to guide you through 5 days with text messages. And at the end, you fill out a survey. We hop on a call and we see if essential oils fit into your life. Are you stressed? Do you have digestive issues? Do you want some wild orange to help shift your thoughts? Do you have any aches and pains? Want a good protein shake? Try the 5-day oil experience. You're going to get 6 samples for $10 and you get to work with me for 5 days. So click the link down below, fill it out. And when you see the part that says who referred you, write the podcast and write Natural Wellness Tips Podcast. And if you write Natural Wellness Tips Podcast, I'm going to send you an extra gift in those samples. So you're going to get 7 samples because you came from the podcast. So definitely check it out. I want you guys to try these oils. I talk about them in every episode. They change every area of my life. And I think everybody should have them in their home. So if you haven't tried them yet, go ahead, fill it out, try them, and I'll get you those samples within 48 hours of filling them out. I'll pop them in the mail. So I'm going to close with this quote from Barbara Hemphill. She says, clutter is nothing more than postponed decisions. So stop sitting in postponement, start moving into decision making. And I hope you all have a beautiful day.